Okay, I confess. This video is a barefaced promotion of my novels. That is to say, marketing. Writers love to write. Marketing? Not so much. But whether or not your book is a success hinges more on marketing than on the quality of the writing itself. Just a fact. Up until now, I've just finished my novels and thrown them out into the world, hoping that somehow they will be discovered. There are so many choices now, an ocean of choices, that only good marketing can draw attention to any one of them, no matter how good it is. It's hard. I think J.K. Rowling approached about 50 agents and publishers who all told her nobody would read her Harry Potter book before she finally found someone who thought, it was worth a try. So this is my marketing. Before I present a short synopsis for 5 novels, here's some basic information on where to get them and why my novels are different and better. First, I describe my novels as science fiction political spy thrillers. Just like real life, which is messy, my novels don't conveniently fit into a single genre. Available as Kindle ebooks, but can also be read on your tablet, computer, or iOS Android phone with an app. See the description below for the link to get the free app. The links to the Amazon order pages are also in the description below. $4.99 each, but you can read the first 20 pages of the novel for free. Just click on the Look Inside link at the top of the cover graphic on the Amazon order page. Second, my novels are character-driven, fully developed, interesting characters with sincere motivations that drive the action. Characters that are forced to make difficult choices that define who they are and change them in the process. My characters have to feel real to me, and not just the major characters. And they have to behave like a real person would. That translates into believable characters readers care about. Once I had a character who made a choice that would have thrown the whole story out of kilter, but it was the only choice she could have made. I therefore had to replace her with a new character, with a different personality, background, and ambitions, and had to rewrite all the scenes she was in from the beginning, and adjust everything that she had influenced. Third, my novels are defined by a number of major intertwined subplots, rather than one main linear plot, that come together in unpredictable ways on their way to the climax. A simpler structure might be easier to follow, but would not be as engaging. There's no fluff or filler in the middle of the story. Everything on the page is significant, perhaps to define the characters. Or seemingly unimportant events or dialogue could be setups for significant payoffs later in the story. Because you might miss these things on the first read, a second reading will be even more enjoyable when you know the characters better and the significance of these moments becomes more apparent. I like novels that require you to think. If you tend to skim, my novels may not be for you. Fourth, no plot holes. I hate plot holes. It means the writer was lazy, decided on the beginning and the ending, and needed the characters to go along for the ride, no matter how disjointed the continuity in the middle. I spend enormous amounts of effort structuring the plot to make sense. I start with an annotated outline that is itself distilled from upwards of 100 pages of brainstorming. Then I go through this outline from beginning to end, over and over, adding details of action and dialogue as they present themselves. I typically do this maybe 40 times, fleshing out a little more with each pass, in the process eliminating plot holes and exposing any character anomalies. Once the novel is complete, then the rewrites begin. Early on, I used to lose track of where my characters were and what they were doing when they weren't on the page. One of the tools I developed was to create a huge table with characters plotted against the timeline, often day by day. Characters in a scene together had to be in the same place at a specific time, of course. So add that to the table. If a character was in a scene and then next showed up in another scene 5 days later, perhaps in another location, what were they doing in the interim? Figure that out and add it to the table. That was something I had to know, although not something the reader needed to know. What were all the other characters doing every day, and where were they? And if they were in Washington and next showed up in Helsinki, was there enough time in between to fly across the Atlantic? As I start to fill out this table, I discover things that just don't work, especially when coordinating the different subplots, and then figure out how to rework the action so it will play out smoothly. Giving a novel a real-world foundation is hard, but very satisfying when it all comes together, to the reader's great benefit. So, 5 novels. Dreams of the Iklax. A Wall Street Journal analysis concluded a recent administration's Moon, Mars, and Beyond space exploration initiative was motivated not so much to send a man to the planets as to send new business to the U.S. aerospace industry. In a bit of prescience, Dreams presents one harrowing answer to the question: what would be the reaction if U.S. dollars were supporting an international space program and the consortium awarded the most lucrative contract to a foreign competitor? Charles Xavier Fulton, the U.S. space program manager, is living a thankless existence under the thumb of Vice President Savage, U.S. space policy czar. For Fulton, the question is, what if all your dreams came true and then turned into the biggest nightmare of your life? Night Frost. What if the U.S. unwittingly gave Iran title to the breakthrough technology of the century? What if the only person who can get it back is convinced the transfer was a legitimate business transaction? Heavy-handed spy chief Drago sets up brilliant CIA scientist Olkovich in Finland to tempt the Iranians with a bogus room-temperature superconductor, ostensibly to con them out of billions for its development. But Olkovich resents his treatment and pursues his own ambitions, leaving Drago in a two-truth clandestine fog. Is the technology real? Washington lawyer Roger Pirsig thinks it is. Recruited by Olkovich to promote the technology, he soon finds himself in the middle of a deadly conflict, pressured by the CIA to betray his new boss. Complicating Pirsig's dilemma is the beautiful but headstrong Finnish intelligence agent Lotta Svard, with her incendiary personal agenda. Anti-hero Pirsig struggles to remain his own man, even as the operatives around him play out their inevitable fates. But when Olkovich finally prepares to move the priceless technology to Iran, even Pirsig is compelled to choose sides. Samsara, The Wheel of Life. The Samsara series is based on the Dreams subplot in Dreams of the Iklax, my sci-fi political thriller set in an alternative near future. 200 years in the future, a partially deciphered message from an alien race is revealed by Earth's ruling committee, then ignored. Maverick war hero Fulton, shocked and suspicious, demands a first contact mission. Shift 5 years later. Fulton and 3 others set out in a small, untested spacecraft, miraculously capable of traversing space-time. Fulton soon discovers they're heading into a galactic war and realizes they've all been betrayed. They are lost, and the vagaries of space-time have moved them far into the future. There's no going home. His secretive diplomatic corps second in command, Rachel, appearing mere minutes before their departure, then reveals the device found planted aboard is some kind of weapon, built to the alien specifications. They would know how to use it to save the galaxy from a powerful adversary. Pressing ahead with their mission amid distrust and shocking revelations, the crew barely survives baffling attacks, then starts to wonder, just who is the real enemy? Khimky's World, a Samsara prequel. 200 years in the future, multinational corporations have grown enough in power and reach to see national governments as obsolete, creating political instability, burdensome rules, and uneven tariffs without any apparent benefit. Even most public services have been contracted out to global monopolies. This includes the world vids, the source for all news and information. With technology now able to easily generate any virtual reality for the screen, the acceptance of created content has become universal. But recently, some of the more perceptive politicians have noticed a disturbing trend in incidents undermining their authority, and it's making them nervous. Privileged political apprentice Toby Fitzgerald, Khimky, is largely oblivious to all of this. But when he survives a dramatic terrorist attack on the Senate leadership, his investigation to find those responsible makes him a persona non grata with the corporate power elite, and soon plunges him into a world of nightmarish political upheaval. Khimky's World is the second novel in the Samsara sci-fi series, taking place almost 3 decades before Samsara. It spans the 18 months of escalating terror preceding the global war that took the lives of 6 billion people. Ripley's World, a Samsara prequel. 200 years in the future, with their war to bring all governments into the World Union well underway, a confederation of global monopolies begins to suspect the rumored resistance might in fact be real. Fearing their leadership may be threatened, the committee targets a suspected resistance expert on sentient artificial intelligence, Havana-based Margaret Ripley. If she steals the dangled bait, an AI uniquely able to exploit her revolutionary software, the committee thinks it can expose the whole resistance. Ripley seems willing to risk almost anything to realize her dream of creating a synthetic human. The committee's operatives are counting on that, having imbued the AI Trojan horse with insidious spyware and stubborn loyalty. But when she discovers the ruse, Ripley is determined to turn the AI against the committee by giving her a human physical and emotional consciousness, if only she can keep Johnny isolated long enough for her humanizing modifications to take hold. That turns out to be easier said than done, even with the help of familiar resistance veterans. Ripley's World is the third novel in the Samsara series, picking up a year after Khimky's World ends, and predating Samsara by about 27 years. If you've made it this far and want to try one, I can recommend Night Frost and then Dreams of the Iklax if you are not a big fan of hard science fiction. If you are a hardcore sci-fi fan, go for Samsara and its 2 prequels. I should note that all 5 novels have romantic subplots, and if you're sensitive about explicit sex, you should probably pass on the 2 Samsara prequels. Thanks for watching, and good reading.